let's get into it, because there's a lot to go through today. And, you know, we've all been in that situation where maybe we have a product that's live that's not meeting our expectations, and it can hurt. It can really hurt. And before you pack it in and walk away, there is a few things that I really want you to just sit down and have a look at, and it can be quite confronting. But if you can confidently say yes to these points, you know, you've got a great product there. It's just that you need to put some strategies in place to make sure it's being seen, that it's getting the airtime that it needs. So what I want you to think about with your product is, you know, is it solving a pain point? Is it creating a better user experience? So if you've decided that you want to sell yoga mats and you've put your yoga mat up on Amazon USA and it's the same color, shape, design as 50 others on the page, you're not solving a pain point and you're not creating a better user experience. So maybe having to think about your product in those terms of why would someone pick yours off that page? Also, you know, make sure your niche has moderate to high demand. You could have the most amazing product in the world, but if people don't know to search for it, they don't know it's there. There's no demand. Amazon obviously is driven by that search bar at the top. People are putting in what they want to buy. And if what you're selling they're not aware of, it can be really difficult. So just make sure that that's the case for yours. And obviously this is a no-brainer. Be priced competitively. I'm not saying be the cheapest by any stretch. I'm just saying you need to be in the game. So if all your competitors are $20 cheaper and you're not offering anything different, obviously there's an issue there. You're not going to get the click. And by far and away, this is the most important one for me, make sure you've got a quality product. If you're getting lots of returns and low star reviews, then you know, they're trying to tell you something. And sometimes it can be just a communication issue. Maybe they were expecting, you know, you've got a prop in the photo as well. Maybe they were expecting that to come with it and it didn't. So just being really clear about what your product is, making sure that the quality is on point. And like I said, it is confronting, but we do need to, you know, have this discussion up front. Veronica, do you have anything you wanted to share on that?
Yeah, I think it's like reviewing your products, especially, you know, a product or product line. You know, there's no shame in, you know, reviewing a product. And then if you answer these questions and you're like, actually, it's not looking very positive, there's no shame of making the decision to be like, okay, I thought this was going to work. It's not working for, you know, a number of reasons. I'm going to decide based on data to discontinue this product. There's nothing wrong with that, because at least that you've looked at the data, you've made a decision to not waste your time on that. You're closing that down, and then you go and find a better product. So this is something that, you know, you're continuously looking at, and there's no shame in discontinuing a product and starting again. And I think that's very important to do. Kimberly and I were having this conversation, you know, just a moment ago, but before the training, I was speaking to someone, and they mentioned that, you know, they had launched 100 products. And out of, you know, 100, they had discontinued, you know, between 60 and 80% of those. But this is a serious seller. This is someone who knows how to launch, knows how to do their product research and make the decision to go forward or to stop. So, yeah, these questions are always important for you to look at, whether you're going into and launching a product or one that is like not performing as well as you hoped.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've all been there. And I guess the benefit with Amazon is, you know, it's not lost. You can sell that stock through and decide not to reorder, or maybe you run a promotion and clear it quickly. It's not burnt money if you make strategic decisions on how you're going to clear that out. So those are the hard questions. If you can say yes and your listing is still flat, there are so many things that you can do, and you can do these immediately. You can start doing these today, and they're really going to help. Now, some are obvious, some not so obvious. So first off, Amazon is a visual platform. People shop with their eyes, where, you know, our attention span is so short. If you do not have optimized photos, if you're not using A+ content or storefronts, you're really missing out. It is free. You're not paying for that space on Amazon. So if you don't have that, get on it. All you need is to be brand registered. It's so easy. You can get that set up within a couple of weeks, if that. So get onto that. We're going to go through each of these in detail as well. So the next thing, obviously, is keywords. if you don't have the right keywords in your listing, you're not going to be seen. And it can be tricky if you're selling in a different market to your, like I'm living in Australia, if I'm selling in the US, I could be missing out on keywords that are super relevant if I'm basing it off my own knowledge. So don't make assumptions about keywords. You'll be surprised what people are using to find products. And you want to then make sure that those keywords are placed in the right spaces in your listing copy, that you're using them to maximum advantage. You don't need to be repeating them 20 times and stuffing keywords everywhere, but just strategically placing them in the right areas, the right keywords. It's going to make the world of difference. And you'd be surprised how many of your competitors aren't doing this, especially ones that have been around for a little while. You'll find that they're pretty lazy with this sort of thing. They're just kind of, coasting along. You can definitely come in and take those keywords, put them in the right places, and just blow them out of the water. The next thing, especially, this is highly relevant for the US, PPC. You really want to make sure you're getting eyes on your listing. You can waste a whole bunch of money if you don't know what you're doing with PPC. And I've seen that time and time again. There is just a few tips there that you need to keep in mind if you're wanting to try this out, and we'll go through those. And then my favorite one at the moment is driving traffic from outside sources. Amazon loves outside traffic. They will reward you so much for that. And it's actually pretty easy to do. So definitely get onto that. And that's for any marketplace around the world that's going to work. So I think let's get stuck into it. If we go back to the first point, photos. Now, what's the first photo somebody is seeing when they see your listing? So this, I don't know if we've got any parents in the room, but I know in my group of friends, when people are having babies now, they put them on these blankets and there's, how old they are. These are two real products on Amazon. And you can see this one here, they've put a baby in the image, and it's proven if you put a pet or a baby or a person or any sort of, you're creating emotion, a human element to it, people are more likely to click. So if that relates to your product, put it in there. It's clear, it's laid out, you can see what it is. This one here, I mean, they haven't even unfolded it. It looks terrible. I would not click on that ever. And just imagine if you were shopping for that on your phone, how squished in and horrible it would actually look, whereas this one's bright and colorful. So I think that's a perfect example of good and bad. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen hundreds of examples like this while you've been searching, Veronica, as well.
Yeah, and this is actually like a brilliant example of, this is a unique product in terms of why does someone want this product? And it is to take a photo of their child to celebrate a milestone. So it's like, it's happy, a baby's cute, it's loving, it's all of those emotions. When you look at, the butterfly, like even the design, this is, one of the top competitors for this niche. They've really thought about it. Whereas the one on the right-hand side, they haven't really captured the essence of why someone would actually want this product. And this is all about emotion. This is not something, no one needs this. No one needs a blanket for milestones whatsoever. This is for the mums, for the grandparents, for the family members to put, in a card or to like make a scrapbook out of. This is to look pretty, so all of that captured in a hero shot, like the one that have done that on the left, will draw people to the left-hand side. Whereas the right, and it actually looks like a scrunched up piece of paper, to be honest.
It looks awful. So if we go back to that point one that we were talking about, it's like, this isn't necessarily solving a pain point, but it is creating a better buyer experience. It's creating an experience, like you said. And I'd argue with you that it's not necessary, because my Instagram feed is just blowing up with this stuff. So there's all the social media people would probably say it is necessary, but yeah, let that one go. Anyway, and moving on to storefronts. If you haven't seen what a storefront is, if you're brand registered, Amazon will let you create a website on the Amazon platform. Now, just let that sink in for a little bit. Space on Amazon is very limited. As you know, you get that hero shot, a couple of images after it, and some bullet points. So the fact that Amazon is willing to say to you, here is a URL that you can use for your business, and you can create multiple tabs, multiple pages, put any images, videos, text on there. and you're not using it, that is insane. So please set that up. Like I said, it's free. This is just one that I liked because I felt they've kept their branding really consistent. And branding's a whole other topic, but it's a hot sauce company. And it's just, I can feel the emotion coming through here. Like, it's fun, it's bright, it's vibrant. Even the nail polish on the hand that's holding that photo is bright. Like, I love how they've tied it all together. They're creating an experience. So definitely check that out. And you can see some great examples. Like, there's some really cool ones. And these are stock photos. Like, they haven't.
This is awesome. I think this looks great. And it's like personality. And this is an awesome example of, this is only, well, I'm assuming if this is only one product, the hot sauce, I hear that a lot of people, I've only got one product. Why would I have this website for one product? This is one product, and they've done a fantastic example of like branding. How are you going to feel? Who are the people? Are they trying to attach? Personally, for me, it reminds me of Bali, like one of the restaurants in Bali, like Mexicola. Like, it's cool, it's fun. Like, it's a buyer experience. And when you're creating your brand, like Kimberly said, a whole other topic. I know this is for both of us something that we're really diving into on a personal level in our own businesses. It is actually really fun and really creative, and you get to think, who are the people that are going to buy my product? And they've done an awesome way of capturing who their avatar is.
Yeah, they really have. And there's so much more. This page just kept on giving. But when I was saying that these are stock photos, they are so cheap and easy to get. This one here is their product. You don't need to be having massive photo shoots to get all this content. You can get really high quality stuff for free or close to free. And then they're just doing little overlays, which anybody can do through using Canva. So definitely set that up. And similar to that, you may have heard of something called A+ content. So this sits under your listing. I'll actually show you what this one looks like on the website, actually, because I think it's cool to see. It's a tow rope for a car, and it's called Rhino USA. I've used this example a couple of times just because I really think their branding is awesome. And if I scroll down, so a normal listing would just have the photos and the bullets, and they might have some text below. A+ content is this, and this is where you can really sell your product. If somebody is sitting on the fence and they're not sure whether to click on yours or someone else's, if you scroll down and you see all of this stuff, they're calling out the different features and benefits. There's a little bit about the team behind the product. They're making it personal. Then they've got other accessories and things there. I'm going to click add to cart on this one. If I was just looking at two side by side, this is selling it. They've got their branding consistent, the car, it's just brilliant. Again, it's free. To create this, you don't need to hire anyone to do it. It's simply drag and drop templates. You upload your images. You can play around with it, preview it. It's not hard. So definitely set that up as well. So you've got your great photos, you've got your A+ content, and you've got your storefront. So you're maximizing that Amazon real estate. It's just the perfect setup.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's a product that you could be like, oh, but it's a tow rope. Like, who cares about branding? It's just something that, people need if they're, to be honest, I don't know in what circumstances you need this, but it's something that I don't know, maybe a man has in the back of his ute, for example. But they have done a fantastic job of branding it. It looks cool. It looks masculine. And like, you want to be, again, they know who they're speaking to. They know that their avatar is going to look at this and be like, yeah, that's the kind of person that I am. I like adventure. I have a cool car. I'm going to get in a scenario where I'm going to get stuck and I'm going to be the one who saves the day. Like, this is like, it might sound almost corny that's what you need to think about the process, but that's exactly what has been done here. Whereas if you look at even the competitors on this page, again, their branding sticks out even among all the others, that really it is just like a piece of material that can pull you out. It's a piece of rope, but they've done a brilliant way, like the colors, everything.
Yeah, I'm just looking at one of their competitors here. I honestly haven't gone through this, and they're trying. You can see they're trying. It doesn't have the same emotional response for me though. Like it's not really doing the same as well a job as the other one. But still, they've got some there, which is good. You'll see that a lot don't have this. So if you're competing in a niche where they don't, they're missing out.
Especially in the American marketplace, like it's something, if you're going into Australia, you should always strive to be creating a brand and getting your, utilizing all of this. But you can almost, because we are, still growing, almost initially get away with it. But in America, you're just.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to do it. So once you've got your photos and all your extras spot on, the other thing you want to do is make sure that your keywords are there. So this, again, is not something that you want help with this. So we've got tools in the ZonGuru toolkit that are going to do all the heavy lifting, and I'll pass it over to you, Veronica, so you can run through a quick demo to show people exactly how easy it is to find them. I'll turn mine off.
Wow. Okay, give me a moment.
Craig, just to answer your question, I can see there's some questions that are coming through. If you're trying to do a niche finder search on boxing gloves, so niche finder is about finding niches. So it's when you're not quite sure what you're looking for. If you've already got a niche in mind, go straight to the Chrome extension. That's going to give you all the data you need there, and then put some of your favorites into sales by. So if you want more information on that, for sure, just email support@zonguru.com and we can walk you through that. But it's great that you're one step ahead. You've got your niche.
This is upsetting, guys. Sorry, I'm not quite sure why this is pink.
It's not pink on my end.
Oh, you're perfect.
Good. Yeah,
perfect. It's only pink on my end. Everyone can see it. Awesome. So awesome. Okay, so when we're talking about keywords on fire, goes hand in hand in our listing optimizer tool. Now, we have done a lot of trainings on these specific tools that are just dedicated to these tools, and we will also do them. But just for the sake of today's example, I'm doing a real quick high-level overview of how exactly these two tools work together for you, basically. So number one, when you're creating your listing, or when you're bringing more life to your listing, you obviously need to know what relevant and impactful keywords firstly your competitors are using in their listing, but the keywords that your customers are using in the search engine of Amazon. And obviously we use our keywords on fire for that. So this search can be done in two different ways. And this can be done by your ASIN, so up to 25 ASINs, or you can do by product phrase. So our Keywords on Fire tool is a reverse ASIN lookup, and it collects, again, the most impactful keywords and the most relevant keywords. So for this example, I'm doing a milestone. So this session has already been run. It takes a few minutes. You've got a high-level overview of what exactly our Keywords on Fire session has brought to you. So we've got 25 ASINs. We've got 300 unique keywords. I always say, why 300 keywords? Why not more or less? More, if you have 10,000 keywords, what are you going to do with them? You're going to ask us, what are the top keywords on Guru? So we've given you 300, and even with 300, you can still filter through and make sure you've got the most relevant, impactful keywords for your product. This is the total revenue that the keywords are bringing in over a 30-day period. So it gives you an indication of demand, for example, and also the search volume, again, that these keywords have brought in over the last 30 days. Now, keywords are super important at every stage of your Amazon journey. So you can edit filters of where exactly you are looking, what exactly you're looking for, so you don't get overwhelmed. But you do have your keywords here, you've got metrics here, and this is my personal favorite that I just want to skim over, is that it gives you a visual representation of where your competitors, where they are and how they are performing. So the number indicates the position of the ASIN with the corresponding keyword. So this ASIN is number one for the keyword baby milestone blanket. If there is a dash, means that that product isn't ranking in the top 200. So this is where you can identify gaps, whether it's within your own ASIN or your competitor's ASIN, and see if you can utilize this better than your competitors. So for the purposes of creating a listing, I'm going to go ahead and save this session. So I save it and I name it. So that is step one. Now step two, going over to our listing optimizer tool here, you can now create your listing. So goals of our listing optimizer tool. Number one, you want to make sure that you are out optimizing your competitors and you are increasing your chances of appearing on page one. So there are two elements to this tool. The first one being is the keywords. You simply go add import from keywords on fire, and you are importing the saved keywords list that we just did in our keywords on fire session, and they come up like so. So that is number one. Number two here is where you're going to create your listing, but the major advantage of this tool is that you can compare side by side your competitor's listing, and you can do this for up to 8 listings. And this is simply by going to Amazon, getting the ASIN and clicking add here. Now what you can see here is this is one of my competitors. So we are going along for the blanket, the baby milestone blanket that we were looking at previously. I've got 3 of my competitors here, and I'm going to pretend that this one here is the ASIN that I'm working on. But firstly, look at what you get for your competitors. You've got title, you've got bullet points, you've got description, and the big one is that you can see your competitors' back-end search terms, which is obviously a major advantage for you. Now, when I say that we are comparing our listings and we want to make sure that ours is better, you're comparing this score. So it's a listing optimizer score, and that is overall quality of your listing calculated by the strengths of the keywords used and where they are placed. So for my competition, I've got 14,000, I've got 31,000. So obviously this listing here is really utilizing the keywords. You can see exactly what keywords they are using. As you can see, the star here is an exact match in the title. We've got a broad match in the title, nothing. It means that they haven't included the phrase into their listing or a tick. So this is an example of a listing that has utilized the most relevant, impactful keywords in the most efficient way. So now I'm going to go over here to the listing that I'm going to pretend is mine. Now I'm gauging, as you can see here, I don't have many stars. I've got a few here, but there's a lot of phrases that I haven't utilized. And from the low score, you know that this listing hasn't utilized. The listing here is that same photo that we were looking at in terms of the, I guess, not a great example of how your hero shot or how you like hero shot can look. So I have gone ahead from the left-hand side. I have changed the title, and I've only added a few. And as you can see, this listing optimizer score is recalculating. I'm now at 30,000. And this literally, I did this in 2 minutes before the training, okay? It's not my product. I don't know much about it, but I've literally taken the keywords from the left-hand side. I've made sure that the most relevant, impactful keywords are being used, but also it's not crammed full of keywords. The title still makes sense. We know that the title is our most expensive real estate. We need to utilize that, but we also don't want to look spammy. People don't like it when there's just random words and then they don't make sense. So 30,000. My 2 competitors here are still a little bit higher than I am. So what I can actually do is I can add the rest to my back-end search terms. And this ASIN actually didn't have, they had 1, which was milestone. So if this was my ASIN, this ASIN doesn't, I don't think, understands what the back-end search terms are because they've already actually included that in their title. But what I'd go here is I can actually just click on these words and they are automatically added to my back-end search terms. And as you can see, it's just growing. And I've literally used all the keywords now almost. My score is now at 32, and I've only edited the title. These bullet points can be improved as well. So I've literally done that in 3 minutes on a product that I know very little information about. So you can see how quickly you can make improvements on your own listing and making sure that you are out-optimizing your competitor, increasing your chances to be on page 1. And the beautiful thing about our tool is because you are connected to your Seller Central account, you hit here, publish on Amazon, and it redirects you straight to your Seller Central account. So there's no copy and pasting going backwards and forwards. But as you can see, it can be done very easily. So if you're thinking about your ASIN, your listing, and you have not done this, firstly, you have needed to do this yesterday. You need to do this while you're even doing product research, okay? So do go back and spend some time in there. I've shown you in a very quick way how simple it is. Just because it's simple, it still requires some time and it still requires some, knowledge on what you're doing and experience in copywriting as well. It can be done very, very simple. It's simple to do.
Yeah, something that I do a lot with when I'm looking at my keywords and listing copy is I'll run multiple keywords on fire sessions too, just to really make sure that I'm casting that net wide for my keywords. And I love this tool because you can pull in multiple keyword sessions. So it makes it really easy to, it's just so easy. And I have confidence then that I've captured all the possible keywords that I can use. It really does help there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. We have some really detailed trainings. I mean, you could speak for all day on these two tools alone. So if you are a ZonGuru subscriber, if you go to our FAQ articles, we've actually got one with all our training replays in there. There's some amazing ones on keywords and listing optimization. So definitely check that out if you're wanting to get more into the detail. So yeah, awesome. So if we, let me share my screen, because the next thing on our list, so we've optimized our images, all the A+ content, we've got our keywords, we've updated our listing. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we're getting eyes on our listing. And I've zoomed my screen way out here just so I can point out a few things. So you don't need to read the copy, so don't worry there. When you're advertising on Amazon, you've got a few places where different ads can pop up, and sometimes they don't even look like ads. At the top here, this is a sponsored brand ad. This seller here isn't actually using this to their best advantage. Usually it will showcase 3 different products with their brand, their logo. You can see they're only doing 1. To me, that's a bit of a waste of space. They were probably better off switching to sponsored products, which I'll get to in a minute, because this space here, they are paying for, but they're not using it. And also, if you can see, it's a sleep sack. It's got nothing to do with this. So again, they're wasting their advertising spend because they're showcasing their products for something someone's not really searching for. It's related, it's definitely related, but it's not what the buyers are coming in here to find. So that's your sponsored brand. And then you've got underneath that sponsored products. And the reason why I know they're sponsored products is you can see a little tiny sponsored badge here. It's gray, it's really hard to see. They'll usually appear in the first line. They'll also appear further down the page. And this is where you're paying to have an individual product showcased. Now, these ones here are all relevant to the search term. So I've typed in baby milestone blanket. They're bidding on this keyword. So the way that PPC works, it's called pay per click. You're only paying when someone clicks on their ad. So if I was to click on this one, for example, they would pay whatever they bid to get shown on the page. If I don't click on it, they don't pay. So you can see that they've paid to be at the top of the page, and then after that we've got our organic listings underneath. If I was to go and view one of these listings, I've got one of those open already. This one's a great example of how to showcase your photography. That is just beautifully done. There's, the blanket's crisp. That's beautiful. And I can see that they've kept that consistent throughout their branding. If I scroll down, we've got these sneaky little ads that are popping up, and they're called sponsored display. So I might be ready to click add to cart here, and then I go, oh, look at this. This one's might be a little bit cheaper, or maybe it's got more star ratings, or this one's actually running a coupon. I could click on that, and they've actually stolen the sale. So sponsored display is an interesting one. They pop up all over the place, and it really does disrupt your competitors and where they're advertising. So I just wanted to point out where you're going to see those different ads before we jump into some tips about using them. So we've just run, oh, sorry, go on.
So I was just going to say, on that example where you were in Amazon.com, when you're on a listing, you can see that there are so many other products actually listed on your listing. If you take up more space, i.e. have more information in your bullet points, but most importantly, have more A+ content, you actually take up more space. So there's less room for Amazon to put all these other ads or other customers. Remember, Amazon is there to make money. If your product isn't going to make the money, there's about 20 others on the same page that will. So that's why A+ content in those circumstances take up more space and increases your chances of that sale, because there's less competitors on there too.
Such a good point. So those are the 3 we've just run through. So if you're thinking about launching your first campaign and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to master 3 different strategies, no. If you are on a tight budget or you're just starting out, I would recommend sticking to sponsored products initially. So sponsored products is all about getting that click. That's where you're showcasing that individual product. Sponsored brands is for brand recognition. It's getting your name out into the marketplace marketplace. It doesn't necessarily drive huge sales. Sponsored display is about disrupting your competition. So maybe when you're a little bit more established and you're ready to expand your marketing budget, that would be the second one you go to. So that's how I would definitely start with sponsored products and showcase that image really well and clear. And what you're trying to do with PPC is educate the Amazon algorithm. Remember, you're bidding on a keyword, so it's very keyword driven. Go back to your keywords on fire session and find that relevant, the best, most relevant list of keywords. And those are the keywords you're going to bid on. And there are so many different bidding strategies. But if you're just launching a product or your product's a bit flat, I would suggest doing an exact match on those keywords, because just like I showed you in the example of the one that was advertising at the top and it was a swaddle blanket, it's irrelevant. They're wasting their budget. An exact match will make sure that your PPC spend is going to the right keywords, and it will help train the algorithm. Amazon's not going to show it for somebody searching for something else. So again, this is the basic stuff that you would be starting with. And it's going to increase sessions. You're going to get more eyes on your listing. The more eyes on your listing, the more likely you are to increase your conversions and your sales. And conversions are really the aim of the game. Once Amazon sees that you're converting on keywords, they're going to reward you by organically placing you. And that is such a win. I mean, if you can get to page 1 for a keyword and you're not paying for it, you're laughing. That's where the money starts really rolling in. So, and like Veronica said, Amazon wants to make money. If you're making money for them, they reward you. So keep an eye on those keywords. Make sure you're not wasting spend on broad and phrase match initially, especially when you want the algorithm on your side. So many people go in, try every campaign and every keyword and every phrase match style possible, and then wonder why the algorithm is confused. So become laser focused, get your rankings up, and then you can expand out. And I promise it will help your organic ranking. Is there any PPC tips you wanted to share, Veronica?
I didn't also wanted to comment on the fact that know exactly who your avatar is and what language they are using. Because I know that, I guess, at the beginning of my business or entrepreneur career, I was more so like, no, I want to sell my product to everyone. Why wouldn't everyone want my product? And if you have that mindset, your messaging is actually really diluted. And that's whether it's messaging in your actual listing or in your PPC campaign. So just because you're laser focused and you're focusing on just a few words doesn't mean that you're limiting your audience. You actually are bringing your product to the audience that will actually buy your product, making it more powerful.
Yeah, they've got a higher intent to purchase. If I am specifically jumping on Amazon to buy a milestone blanket, but I'm showing a swaddle, I'm not going to buy that. So but if I'm showing a milestone blanket, I'm going to, okay, that's what I'm after. Right, let's go check it out.
Exactly right.
My favorite, outside traffic sources. So some people are very overwhelmed and scared. I mean, Amazon's pretty full on as it is. And then when you start adding in things like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Google, it can feel really overwhelming, but it doesn't need to be. My golden rule here would be pick the one where your customer is hanging out. So if they're more likely to be on Instagram, go to Instagram. You don't need to master them all. If maybe yours is something, and don't overlook Pinterest as well. That's a huge source of traffic. Go to where they're hanging out, and you don't need to be, every day, all day on there, but just start gaining your presence. So set up that account, start posting. You've got great content, obviously, from your images and things you're using on your listing. Repurpose those, add value. Something that I do want to point out is Google advertising is incredible. And the reason why I love Google advertising so much is that you're not constricted by what words you can use. So if I was to create a listing on Amazon and put in the word eco-friendly, high quality, or best yoga mat, best anything, I would be banned before, I got my next coffee. That would be it. I would be off the site. You cannot use that language. Google, you can. So you can run a Google ad exactly as the examples I've shown you here that says eco-friendly yoga mats, high-quality luxury mats. You can link it back to your Amazon storefront or your Amazon listing. People are going to see this. So you can really sell the benefits of your listing that you can't convey on Amazon itself. And even though, and it depends on your marketplace as well, Google is the first point of call for a lot of people. That's where they're going, especially in Australia. I've noticed this is a great strategy because we are still adopting Amazon. Amazon is an emerging marketplace here. A lot of us go to Google first and we'll type in that baby milestone blanket. On Google, it could pop up, highest rated baby milestone blanket. Check it out. Click through. When you're driving that source to Amazon, they recognize that, they love it. They will show you more. It will help with your organic rankings. So don't overlook it. And to advertise on Google, if you can do it on Amazon, you can do it on Google. Google is way ahead in terms of its user features for advertising, its ease of use. It's often pretty cheap as well. Again, it's based off keywords. So having that keyword list can be really helpful. Obviously, you need to think about what people would be Googling versus what people would be entering into the Amazon search bar. But definitely a great one to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think in one of the trainings that we've done in the last few weeks, I think you said, Kimberly, that 60% of our customers will actually look you up off of Amazon platform before purchasing. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they might not buy off, if you've got a Shopify store or something else, they just want to know you've got a presence.
Yeah.
So if they see you on Instagram or they see you on Facebook, especially if it's
that's massive.
Yeah, especially if it's a higher price point. So if you're, selling something that costs a little bit more, it's a luxury item, they will look you up. They will look for social proof elsewhere as well. So set up that Instagram account.
Yeah,
it's free, it's easy, and it's a great way to re-engage with your buyers. So you're not, again, this is leading into customer communication. You're not bound by Amazon's rules there, which are so strict. You could say to your Instagram audience, hey, I'm bringing out, I've had my baby milestone blanket. Now I'm bringing out my baby play mat. Check it out. You can do that on Instagram in any way, shape, or form that you want. You're not bound by their rules. Yeah, it's awesome. So that has covered so much ground. And I can see there's some really interesting questions coming through. So we'll answer those. And then in the meantime, feel free to send any more through. I'm going to go right back to the start because, Kevin, I didn't ignore you. I saw your question come through about Atomic. We don't have a dedicated PPC tool, and that's a conscious decision that ZonGuru's made. We want to do all our tools the best possible. PPC is such a huge category in terms of if you're wanting to automate it and manage it. There are specialist software solutions and agencies that deal just in that. And it's almost, if you're at that level, if your business is at that size, you do need that specialist. Something that might do it a little bit might not cut it. So we prefer to step back from that. I'd recommend checking out Solozo if you are wanting that software solution just for PPC. They've been brilliant. And some of the features that they've got, I haven't seen anywhere else. It's incredible. What else do we have? Jane, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I've shared my screen because I've seen Craig's question. So I actually had someone else ask me this earlier in the day. So if there's two of you on one day, I'm sure there may be a few of you on this call that are thinking it. So Craig, I'll just read it out so everyone knows what I'm referring to. I can't get ZonGuru to do a niche find on boxing gloves in Australia. Don't know why it won't. Can you address? Okay, so there's a few things. So in our ZonGuru dashboard, we obviously have tools for you to assist you with your product research, and one of them being our niche finder. So the purpose of our niche finder is to actually get the creative juices flowing to give you ideas about a product. So if you don't have a product or you're not quite sure, you use Niche Finder to give you suggestions on a product. However, you already have a product. So you have boxing gloves in mind and specifically in the Australian marketplace. So how you would go about to actually validate that product is I'm in amazon.com.au, I've written in boxing gloves, and now I have ZonGuru's Chrome extension. And I can see all the relative data points now on the niche of boxing gloves. And then based on the data here, you can copy the ASIN, you can add it into sales by, and then I would also go into keywords on fire and run a session on boxing gloves. So that's how you would go about if you already have a niche or a product in mind to do your product research. The Niche Finder is only specific if you don't have a product in mind, but you're just exploring categories.
Yeah, and Craig, if you're not seeing that data, it just sounds like you need to update your Chrome extension. So I'll send you instructions on how to do that, super quick, and then you'll see all that data pull through. I'm just making a note so I don't forget. And yeah, with the Google Ads, you can point them wherever you want. So if you've got a storefront, you can point them to your storefront. Otherwise, direct to your Amazon listing. You control where you want that traffic to go. So yeah, definitely very cool. Cool, make that know. Jane, you're asking a great question there. So that can happen when you're tracking a product and you notice that the data changes, whether it's on Chrome extension, sales by. That's because especially in emerging marketplaces, and Australia is key for this, it is growing rapidly. America is a consistent marketplace. It's been around forever. It's fairly stable, whereas Australia has so much growth. We are regularly updating our estimates. We're refining our algorithms around sales numbers and revenue. We often will update things to match what the market's doing right now. So if you are noticing changes, that is completely normal. We do recommend, obviously, when you're looking at a product, that you go through each of the tools to really get that 360-degree view. So what it's doing now, what it's done historically, what the customers are saying, go through all of that and look at what the data is telling you over that time period. So just reach out to support if you wanted to run through what your particular product is, because that can make an impact as well. Obviously, we've been through Christmas. There's been a lot happening. Borders opening and shutting in Australia, that can impact depending on what category you're in as well. So just keep that in mind, and we're here to help if you wanted to chat more about it.
I was also going to add, and if I got distracted by the chat and missed this, but also it seems like if you're doing your product research in Q4, generally speaking, Amazon in Q4, the numbers can be inflated because it's Christmas, maybe it's seasonal. So these are other things that you need to take into consideration as well. So is your product epic for a Christmas present? So you were skyrocketed, or is it something to do with Christmas itself, for example, or the holiday season or summer, depending on where you're wanting to sell or marketplace you're wanting to sell. So those are definitely factors you need to consider as well.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, feel free, if there's any other questions, send them through. We're here to help. Otherwise, our next training, we're here every week at 10 a.m. Thursday Australian time, which is Wednesday, testing my memory, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Yeah, I'm a walking time zone converter. I'll drop you the link for the replays, Elena, and you'll definitely get this one in your inbox in a couple of hours. Stay with me. I'll look up that replay link. There's so much content in there, and we're adding more all the time. There's actually some really cool training in there as well about PPC, if you're wanting to dive into that a little bit deeper. We did run a masterclass event not that long ago where we get very deep into the terminology in PPC alone can be mind-boggling.
Yeah. I've just had a mind blank. Our challenge, if you're a seller and you need to have, that this topic in terms of giving life or like refreshing your listing, and you feel like you want a bit of more of a handheld approach. We do have a challenge. And Kimberly, I forgot what it's called.
The rapid ranking challenge.
Challenge, yes.
So everything, that we've spoken about today in so much detail and actionable steps and personalized video. It's very good. I'll drop that link in there as well. Yeah. It's perfect if you're about to launch, or if you have launched and you've got that flat listing that you want to do. Scott, I do a lot on Google advertising. I'm a huge fan. That has really changed the game for me. I use it mostly in the US. I have dabbled in it in Australia, but prefer with the US, that outside traffic source. Amazon just loves it. So give it a go if you're willing to give it a shot. Even just add $10 towards it a day and test it. These things you do have to constantly test and refine. Just make small adjustments, nothing dramatic. And I'd love to hear how you go with it.
Chrome extension. If you're in your ZonGuru dashboard, under product research, it says Chrome extension. You can follow the prompts there, or it actually should work as well on Google, ZonGuru Chrome extension, and it should come up with a link for you to be able to download it onto your desktop.
I'll actually send you a FAQ article on that one too. It's super quick. You'll lose hours searching Amazon though, just a warning of checking out. Have I done a training on Google advertising? No, not yet, but that's a good topic to do. That would be a good one to do. I'll have to add that one to the calendar. Because it is relevant, and like I said, the payoff from it just makes it so worthwhile. Nice. Well, it looks, if there's no other questions, we might end it there. It has been awesome. We've nearly gone for the full hour, and I hope to see you all back next week.
Have a fantastic week. Good luck. And we'll see you next time.